YouTube, what's good with y'all boys, man? It's your boy Cedric Speaks, the Legally Blind Entrepreneur, coming at y'all with another video, man. And before we get into the video, I want to ask you guys to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, as well as drop a comment down below, because this helps the channel grow. All right, y'all, so I wanted to come in here and talk to you guys about how I was able to practice SR with my ex. All right. I was able to practice SR in my last relationship, which was 3 years. As if y'all have been paying attention to my videos, y'all already know. And the way me and my ex met was through a dating app. And when we met, we originally vibed off of the fact that we was both entrepreneurs. She did hair, sold things on eBay, you know, she did a lot. And I was doing my thing as well, with my own businesses. And originally, we wasn't even supposed to date. She was just supposed to be a client. And what ended up happening was she ended up taking a while. She ended up taking a while to make a payment, right, for us to start what we was supposed to start, or for me to start the first session of what I was supposed to do for her, as far as my services went. So she was taking a while to pay. So I would say about 4 months after we first met, and you know, we first talked on a dating site, I had hit her up. I followed up with her and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, I thought we were supposed to work. And she was pretty much like, yeah, we know we still gonna work. You know, I'm about to get my taxes, and once I get my taxes, I'm gonna make a payment or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So during that conversation, I had, well, at the time, me, my brother, and my cousin, we was kind of moving around. So we were staying in like Airbnbs for like a month at a time. So during the conversation me and her was having, when I followed up with her, I had mentioned like, let's link up, like let's meet like in person. And she was with it like from the start. Like, so I told her like, me and my brother and my cousin, we gonna be moving to another B&B. And when we get to that B&B, like come through, like come kick it. Like we could have lunch, we could talk business, we could just vibe, whatever. And she was with it. So that ended up happening, right? She ended up showing up, and it was nighttime when she showed up. And when she showed up, she was super outgoing and all of that. And we ended up smashing on the first night, the second and the third. And I would say within like 2 weeks, we was in a relationship, right? And we would pretty much smash at any chance we got. You know what I mean? Like we felt deeply about each other. So it was a lot of like intense love making any chance we got. We would have other forms of intimacy as well, other than like hardcore S3X, but it was like, you know, it would all come back to us, you know, doing our thing at some point. It would all come back to S3X at some point. So as time went on, things started to change a little bit because she happened to be a Christian. So we ended up getting our place. We ended up finally getting a place together. And when we got the place, she started feeling guilty, talking about, oh, we shacking up and, all of that. And we having S3X outside of marriage, or, what it is. If you're a Christian, the standard that y'all try to live by, or should be trying to live by. And, if you're not a Christian, we all know the standard that their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ wants them to live by. So she started feeling guilty about that. And she started fasting, right? Not just from food, but from other things. And S3X happened to be one of them. So I would try to be intimate with her at times, and she'd be like, nah, nah, babe, I'm fasting, da, 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 da. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I never got mad at her because I knew what she was doing. Like, I respected it, right? And mind y'all, I already knew about SR at that time. This is 2019 when me and her was together. I found out about SR in 2018. So I already had some knowledge on SR. So when she started doing that, I was like, all right, cool. Well, since, you doing your thing, it kind of reminded me about SR. So I was like, all right, well, you doing your thing. Like, I'm gonna make sure I'm retaining, because I ain't just trying to be, a dried up pickle out here. Like, so I'm gonna make sure I'm retaining. So, and then also I kind of wanted to experiment. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I kind of wanted to do a little experiment to see how long would I be able to retain in the relationship before she just wouldn't be able to keep her hands off of me, because I already knew that was a thing of retention, of like, the longer you retain, the harder it's gonna be for them to, keep their hands off of you. So I went on like a 14-day streak, and then when I hit like 14 days, around that mark, that's when it happened. Like, she just was not able to keep her hands off of me. And that's when I realized, like, okay, around about 14 days, that's when that pull start to get strong, right? That's when that pull start to get strong. And then we would, we'd smash, right? So as time went on, the talks of like shacking up and stuff would die down, but then it'd pick back up. And, she'd start like taking her like fasting like more serious, right? So we started going longer periods without having S3X. So what happened was we started going a month at a time before having S3X, right? Like I said, she was taking her spiritual journey more serious, which led up to me taking mine more serious, like with SR. So we started doing it once a month, and during that month, of course, it was still times where we just like, we couldn't keep our hands off of each other, just as far as just like physical touch. So, there was other forms of intimacy within that month, but nothing that would like take it too far, or trigger us and all of that. And then even when we finally did something, it was like, it wasn't like, oh, we just decided to do it. It was just like, okay, the pull is just too strong right now, and we just gave in, right? But even when we did that, I wouldn't release, right? And because, I communicated to her, educated her about what I'm doing. And, you know, she's a Christian, so she kind of already knows how a man being celibate can better him mentally, physically, spiritually. She was on board with it. So when we would do it that one time in a month, she was aware as well that I wasn't trying to release. So she would do whatever she could to help me with that, right? Which was not tripping if I slowed down or I couldn't keep going or I stopped early. You know, if she was on top, she would slow down. If I tell her like, okay, slow down, like she would help. She would help out as much as she can for me not to release during the process. And then, and it's like, don't get me wrong, like it was times where I would, you know, do my thing, you feel me? But, you know, as my retainers know, you know, who've tried to have S3X on retention, it's like that thing be tender. So you're not able to just perform exactly how you want to perform until you get used to doing that. But, you know, I still do my thing and all that, but it was times where, like I said, I had to ease my way in, like, and she was cool with that. She was cool with that. And even when I finally did release, she didn't want me to. Like, I remember we was doing it and I was like, oh man, I'm about to bust. And she was like, no, don't, you know. And when she was saying that, I let go. I was like, you know, and thing is like when I released, it was like, I'm thinking it was gonna be like this big explosion. Cause I'm like, it's like 90 days. So I'm thinking it's gonna be this big explosion. Nah, like literally it was just like all my seed was clumped up into like one and it was just like pew, right? Like I felt it come swimming out. It was just like pew. And I was like, damn, like that was it. Like, so, so yeah, that's how that streak ended. And, that's how I was able to do this practice with my ex. So if y'all boys, you know, thinking about being, or if y'all are already in a relationship, thinking about getting in one, or maybe you just got a companion, you know, a friend, you know, having these relationships, you know, being in these relationships and practicing SR definitely can be done. You know, being in a relationship and practicing semen retention definitely can be done. I am a witness, right? I have the experience. It's just that, one, you have to make sure that it's with the right person, because everybody's not gonna hop on board with this. Like, you got to make sure that it's with the right person. You know, make sure you educate them. So communicate, educate, make sure you educate them about, you know, what you're doing. And be patient with them, right? Be patient with them. As long as they're willing to try, to work with you, then everything is good. But the problem arises when they start getting pissed off because you're doing it, right? But just be patient with them, you know? And yeah, everything will work out. There's plenty of guys in relationships practicing SR, and you can do the same. All right, so that's gonna be it for the video, man. I'm out.